Pilsners are one of the world's great historic beers. Today, we're going to tell you all about it.
Hey Glenn, breweries are popping up all over the world. Maybe someday on Mars?
Mars. He's Joe Sixpack, I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Sly Fox Brewery in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and this is What's Brewing.
What's Brewing, brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, download the app, and by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.
This season, stay up, stay out, stay wild, stay cool, and stay together, because you don't have to go far to get away. Book your stay and receive offers of up to $250 at these premier attractions.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. He's Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the great Sly Fox Brewing Company, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, here in the tasting room. They got so much going on, the canning going on behind us.
It's a busy place.
Joe Sixpack, today we wanted to start off by talking about Pilsners. We're going to visit from my favorite professor. We begin with the beer swap. What Pilsner did you bring me?
Well, this one is called Paradox Pilsner. It's from the Paradox Brewery in Schroon Lake?
Schroon Lake.
Schroon Lake, okay,
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
In the Adirondacks, I guess.
Yeah, it's
All
right down there.
So it's a nice,
Near Lake Placid.
okay, all right,
Good tourist area. Oh, look at that. Nice and blonde, very...
Blonde, a little cloudier than sometimes you see from Pilsners. Sometimes they're so clear you can read a newspaper through them.
Good, crisp, not a lot of flavor to it.
It's pretty, it's very easy drinking, but it doesn't seem hugely
Doesn't have a lot to it.
I like
All
it.
right. I brought you a bunch, but I'm going to start with one of my all-timers. I always go to this, the Trogs Sunshine Pils. I think it's a really fine, locally brewed Pils.
I used to love this beer. It was always the first sign of spring for me, but now it is a year-round beer, I believe.
Since you taught me to pour, I know how to pour these.
Exactly, and you can see the difference here now right away. The cloudiness factor there, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
So the much clearer looking beer. Not that that's a deficit, but in a Pilsner you do want a
We
clear
saved
beer.
the cloudy for the
Yeah.
IPAs. I like it. It's a really good go-to springtime,
So
summertime
crisp.
beer for me. I brought you some others that I want you to look at. This is the Pony Pilsner by Half Acre.
Yeah, no more for their hoppy beers, but this is a real good standard beer. I like this beer a lot.
This is the Whackers Bohemian. I think we had this on the show last year.
We did,
for something.
from Lancaster County.
Yep. And this one I have never tried also. The guy at the beer store recommended the Ayinger Bavarian Pils. Ayinger,
Great
excuse
brewery.
me.
We know them more for their wheat beers perhaps, but their Pilsner is outstanding.
And even before we began the show, I'm working on my Sly Fox
Crushing it.
Pils. And now we're going to go over, and Professor Joe Sixpack is going to explain it all to us. Oh my. It's the return of Professor Joe Sixpack. What do we have here?
That's right, we've got an advanced class this morning, Glenn, in Pilsner.
Ooh, goody.
Backing up just a real quick bit though. Originally, most beer looked like this. Dark, sort of heavy, you know, nice, but not really what this beer is. Nice, bright, clear. That's a Pilsner. But how did we get there? Well, the first thing, Pilsner, the name is Pilsner, or let me get my pointer out.
Yes. You're getting smarter by the second.
Exactly, Pils or Pilsner. It's spelled, it's the same thing, maybe
Right.
different varieties.
Brought my own today.
Exactly.
Sly Fox.
Sly
Yep.
Fox, a real fine one. Okay, so it gets its name from Pilsen Česka, which
that
is
like
now
Czech-
known as Czechia. Glenn, can you find Czechia on the map here for us?
I didn't know there would be math. I believe it's right there
Bingo!
from what used to be Czechoslovakia, correct?
Exactly, that's your quick quizzy for the day. All right, so it began, well, let's see, Pilsen is a 1,000-year-old city historic brewing center in what was Bohemia at the time.
Watch that pointer there, son.
Exactly, sorry about that. It began, but the Pilsner began as an emergency beer, actually. The town of Pilsen had really bad beer. it tasted horrible. It was almost like the Three Stooges were making this beer.
I was wondering when they were brewing there.
Citizens dumped entire barrels of the beer in the
bad.
streets. It was really bad, and the town fathers knew they had a problem, so they built a new brewery, one that could take advantage of bottom fermenting yeast that was becoming popular in Bavaria. Now,
Could be wrong. That looks like the brewery out of Game of Thrones.
It's actually the one of the old original breweries in Czechia, in the Czech Republic. Bottom fermenting yeast, in contrast to top fermenting ale yeast, works better at a colder temperature, so they needed to age it in these big, massive cellars. Those cellars, or storehouses in German, the German word for storehouse is Lager. So that's where the word lager comes from. Let's turn the page here.
I'm happy to do so here.
We dwelled too long on this one.
All right.
Just one page.
Yes, I'm sorry. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Then, importantly, the town, this is our hero. The town recruits a guy named Joseph Groll from Bavaria. He is the hero of this story. At the time, we're talking about 1840s here, so he's a young guy. And they bring this guy in. He's actually, his father was a brewer. He learned how to brew.
He looks like he's enjoyed a few himself.
I would say he has. Groll knows that all beer starts with water, or as we call it in Philadelphia, water, okay?
All right.
Big important ingredient here. And just like in Philly, the water in Germany is basically hard water. And there, to brew with that kind of water, it was better to use sort of darker grains because it reduces the acidity in the harder water beers. But in Bavaria, or rather in the Czech Republic, he discovers that the water is quite soft, and he was able to take advantage of these sort of new, paler malts that were becoming very popular at the time. Hold on a second, I got to change to my notes. So we have the bottom fermenting yeast. It was on the previous page.
Right.
We had the water.
Yes.
We had the malt.
Yes.
We got one more ingredient,
I
Glenn.
see what's coming, the hops.
The hops.
There
all
you
right.
go.
The second one you got right. Perfect. As it happens, Pilsen is
well
not
in this class.
Pilsen is not far from one of the great world hops growing areas. It's called Zateks, and they're known for their Saaz hops, S-A-A-Z hops, which are quite floral. They smell mild, they're earthy, they're spicy, but they're not particularly bitter. And it was the perfect marriage of the four ingredients of beer. When Groll introduces that beer to the city of Pilsen on October 5th, 1842, very important date in beer history.
October 5th, 1842.
The city goes crazy.
I love this guy. I've been there. Turn
the page, there,
Flip.
Glenn. Ta-da! We get this great Pilsner beer. It's the original Pilsner beer, in German, original Urquell.
I've had it, I've loved it.
The Pilsner Urquell, the original Pilsner. But this is just half of the story. It's not just about the development of the beer. In the mid-1800s, it also happens to be a time when three other inventions come along, what those of us in beer school call the 3 R's. Refrigeration,
yes,
which allows beer to be transported around the world, railroads, move it further, and really clear glassware. Sort of a new invention, but you can now see the beer. Important stuff.
It does look good. I mean, really, that color of beer just looks refreshing.
Absolutely. So finally, the beer spreads all through Europe, and then it starts coming into America with the immigration that we saw, including Herr Dieter coming over with his funny glasses into America, and he brings the beer. One of the early immigrants is a guy named Carl Conrad. Conrad brews that beer based on a recipe that he knew from a town called Budvar in the Czech Republic. He brews his beer, which you never heard of, I'm sure.
Budvar.
Nobody ever heard
Conrad
of Carl
and Company,
Conrad.
Budvar? No.
Nobody knows it. But we do know it now because of his good friend Adolphus Busch.
Look at that.
Budweiser. Budweiser is the beer that becomes. And of course, Budweiser becomes pretty much the most popular beer in the world. That's the end of it. We're on our last page finally here, but Glenn, let me just make a couple quick points here. First of all, Budweiser and so many others like Coors, they dumbed down the recipes.
Yeah.
They added, for instance, the all-important, maybe not, where is it? Somewhere in there is rice. I know it's in there somewhere. Rice is one of the ingredients. Others added corn to lighten it up. So it's not the same beer. So if there's anything that you can remember out of this whole lesson, it's that there's a ton of really good Pilsners out there, but the ones that you see for the most part of these mainstream ones like Miller Lite, nah, it's not a Pilsner. It's just light, watered down beer. Instead, what we've got is a lot of really good, locally brewed Pilsners that are very popular today.
There you have it.
And that's our lesson on Pilsner.
Professor Joe Sixpack, you're the smartest guy I know. I appreciate that. Hey, coming up on What's Brewing, we're going to talk about we may soon be brewing beer on Mars. We're not joking. Stay tuned.
Make your day golden with a smooth, refreshing Yuengling Golden Pilsner. From America's oldest brewery, created by Yuengling's newest generation. It's a refreshing take on Pilsner. For a refreshing take on what's to come. Make your day golden. Yuengling Golden Pilsner.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing from the Sly Fox Brewing Company. We're in the tasting room here in Pottstown, PA. What do you have in there?
This is the Sly Fox Volpilin. It's the beer that you had in the IPA brew down. I can understand why you wanted this for your
love
walk
that
park.
beer. Look at it, looking nice and cloudy, hazy. There you go. Here's to you. All right, a couple newsy notes we want to get to. Joe Sixpack, first of all, meeting of the malts.
Yes.
The heck is that?
Well, it's sort of a meeting of the minds of the beer world in Pennsylvania. It's run by the Brewers of Pennsylvania, which is the state's official beer guild. And on April 25th out in Hershey, they're going to be having this really cool panel discussion and dinner and festival. The panel discussion includes the likes of Garrett Oliver from Brooklyn Brewing, Sean O'Sullivan from 21st Amendment, one of our favorite breweries, Wendy Yuengling, who we just were visiting not recently, and John Trogner from Trogs Brewing. And you can get tickets for that at brewersofpa.org.
Brewersofpa.org. Also, I always love these collaboration brews. There's a new one coming down.
This is a really nice one. It's a collaboration of breweries that are owned by veterans of the armed services.
Oh, nice.
So they've gotten together. They're going to be brewing a beer that will be out for distribution soon. Not sure what the day of the brewery is, but it's 15 different breweries that are working on it, and they're going to be at the Newfangled Brewery out in Harrisburg.
That's the name of the place? The
Newfangled
Newfangled
it's a good name,
Brewery?
isn't it? So some of the local breweries include Aston Abbey, which we visited last year, and Root Down, which we also visited, and there's several other breweries locally part of that whole effort.
All right, we like to report to you when there's crime news here on What's Brewing, and a big theft went down at Le Cabre Brewing Company. We both know Craig LeBon of the Philadelphia Inquirer runs his Brewvitational, gives out big awards.
Right.
So what happened?
So yeah, you put it's a stupid little award, okay? It's not like it's a diamond encrusted thing. Yeah, exactly. Sitting in the brewery, and some mook, I tell you, goes and steals the thing, and they had it on their security camera.
We're going to show you the video right now.
Ooh, look at this. This looks good. I'm gonna steal this. Yeah, it's an award. It must be an award. I like to win things. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna steal this. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right here until I steal it. I'm gonna steal it. Oh look, you're about to leave. Here I go. I'm gonna steal. Stealing. Ooh, put it down my pants. I'm stealing.
Did I catch that guy?
Not so far as far as I know.
Well, if we can do our part, if you know who he is, do us a favor. Hit us on our social media, at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter, at Beer Radar. Let's get that guy.
And that award.
Yeah, one more thing, and let's get that award. One more thing we want to get to, because I love this story. It's local. It's at Villanova University. Astrobiology students. Was that your major in college?
It was a minor.
I see. Attempting to grow new plants in soil that imitates Martian soil, and it is part of the Red Thumbs Martian Garden Project, and the soil is supposed to be 90% similar to what's on Mars. I guess they know that because they've dug that out and brought that back. You remember that movie with Matt Damon?
Yes.
Where he made stuff grow on Mars.
Yeah, well, he had fertilizer
He
too.
used fertilizer. They tried a lot of things. Spinach didn't work. Who wants to grow spinach? Peas didn't work. Hops work.
Yes.
They can grow beer on Mars.
Apparently, I love this idea. Who knew? But hops are basically a weed, I guess, so it'll grow anywhere.
I enjoy my weed.
Yes.
Wait a second. So the good news on that is, if we ever run out of place to put new brew pubs and breweries here in the United States and on Earth, we can always expand to Mars. When we get to Mars, and hopefully we will, there will be beer.
Good reason to go, I guess.
There you go. All right, coming up, we're going to give you the latest results from our brew down of 32. We're going to talk to some of the fine people right here at Sly Fox Brewing, coming up on What's Brewing. Hi, welcome back to What's Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow here at the Sly Fox Brewing Company in Pottstown, PA. What are you drinking, Joe Sixpack?
This is their Grisette, which is a sort of a working class saison. Just comes out this time. They just released it this week. So
nice.
Really nice beer.
Very nice. By the way, we love our beer, but we like our clear liquors too. We pretty much like it all. And one great place with tours every Saturday is the Five Saints Distilling Company, 129 East Main Street in Norristown. It's actually right near the Conshohocken Brewing Company Bridgeport Brew Pub, where we carry that great All Saints stuff. Tours every Saturday, 1:30 and 3 o'clock. At the history of the firehouse, learn about a special piece of fire equipment, get the inside scoop on Five Saints Distilling. Register at fivesaintsdistilling.com to reserve a spot and find tour and time dates. Hours may not be offered on some Saturdays, but you will enjoy yourself. All right, we are deep into the first round of our brew down of 32 beers this year. I gotta say, you're a good bracketologist because we've had some really good matchups. Let's give some recent results.
We have the Mythical Beast category. We had 4 different brackets, and the Mythical Beast was the ones everybody talks about and stands in line. And this was a surprise to me. We faced off Maine Dinner versus Lawson's Sip of Sunshine. And I can tell you, like, for the last 2 years, I've heard nothing about beer if I haven't heard about Lawson's Sip of Sunshine.
I love that beer.
Huge
it's
beer.
Good beer.
But Maine Dinner comes in, and it's not that widely available in our market. And it didn't crush it, but it did beat it 55 to 45%.
It's convincing enough, and we're getting several hundred votes on each of these. We appreciate when you vote. Again, at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter, at Joe Sixpack. You'll find them whenever we put them up. We love you to vote in our Twitter polls. All right, the other one, you went back to Jersey.
I did, and I sort of saw this coming a little bit. I'm a big fan of River Horse and their IPA called Hippo's Head, but I did match it up against one of the maybe one of the 2 or 3 most popular breweries in New Jersey, which is Kane up in North Jersey or near the Toms River area. And Kane Head High beat the River Horse Hippo's Hand 57 to 43%.
Right, so they advanced to the field of 16. As we're still in the first round, any big surprises for you? Any results that are sticking in your mind?
I will still go back to that Dogfish Head one that beat the Alchemist Heady Topper.
I love the Heady Topper. By the way, that one we got more than 1,000 votes. People, they cared about that one.
They did, and I was surprised because for so long all you heard was people standing in line. I mean, I had mules bringing back Heady Hopper to Philly for me.
I got a neighbor does.
And Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA, outstanding beer in my opinion.
All right, that's fine, and that will continue to run. Please make sure that you vote. We would love your participation. Give us feedback on the show, questions you have, anything you want to say. One of the things that What's Brewing that's important to us is knowing what you people want to see and hear, and part of it is because we've learned beer makes you smarter. I don't know about you and I, but that's the theory, and here's the thing. There was a study that they did at the University of Liverpool. I've been to Liverpool. This
is like one of these professorial episodes. We've had Villanova, Professor Joe Sixpack, and now the University of Liverpool, okay?
So they discovered that drinking beer, not too large doses, but some beer, makes bilingual speakers' ability to speak two languages better. Now, you would think if you drink a lot of beer, you kind of get a little sloppy in your speech, but they found just the opposite. They had 50 students who spoke German and Dutch in Liverpool. I don't know how this all came together.
And Dutch there's no harder language than Dutch, I think.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and they basically had them drink beer and speak the other language, and they had some drink no alcohol beer. It was a controlled study, so they think they're drinking it and speak. And what they discovered is that the people who drank the beer learned to speak another language better. So if you want to learn French or Spanish or German or Dutch or whatever, our advice is don't get one of those expensive tapes. Just start drinking beer.
Now, it is important to note, however, that the researchers were also drinking during this, so the results may be a little skewed.
The name of the paper is Dutch Courage, Effects of Acute Alcohol Consumption on Self-Ratings and Observer Ratings of Foreign Language Skills, published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology. Boy, I get that every month. I don't know about you. Coming up, we're going to talk to the Director of Sales right here at Sly Fox Brewing Company. This is What's Brewing.
I'm Joe Sixpack. I love beer and I love travel. I've visited great breweries around the world, and I'm inviting you to join me on my next expedition to France. Yes, they make beer in France. We'll travel the Seine on a luxury river cruise from Paris to Normandy. We'll visit breweries, explore the sights, drink great beer, and maybe some wine. Join me in October 2020. Just visit my website at phillybeerworld.com. Let's discover a world of beer together.
This season, stay up, stay out, stay wild, stay cool, and stay together, because you don't have to go far to get away. Book your stay and receive offers of up to $250 at these premier attractions.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing at the Sly Fox Brewing Company in Pottstown, Pennsylvania with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. By the way, Sly Fox, one of the great Montgomery County breweries, and there are many of them, all members, well, this one certainly of the Valley Forge Tourism Association and the Montco Makers. We are proud to have them as a sponsor, and we're proud to introduce Pete Giannopoulos, the Director of Sales. Pete, we're going to ask you a lot of questions, but before we do, pour us a beer.
Yeah, please.
That's why we're here.
So this is Sly Fox SRT Ale, which stands for Schuylkill River Trail.
And you are right along the Schuylkill River Trail.
Correct. Both our Pottstown locations, Pottstown and Phoenixville locations, are both quite near the river, quite near the trail. So it's something near and dear to us. Schuylkill River Greenways Association benefits from the proceeds of the SRT Ale.
What kind of beer is this?
It is a light, dry hopped pale ale, 4.8% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Nice
Tastes much
Citra.
better than the Schuylkill River. That's for sure. So you are third generation here?
Kind of. My dad was the founder.
Your dad
of
was the
Sly.
founder.
Right.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the history of the brewery and then how you got involved.
Right. So my dad started home brewing with his cousins back in the early 90s and really got hooked. So we formed the Sly Fox Brew House and Eatery in 1995, December 1995.
And that was in Phoenixville.
Right.
It was, really one of the first Chester County brewery or microbreweries that opened up, I think.
It was, yeah. We opened a few months before Victory, actually. Just a few months.
Yeah. But now we're out here in Pottstown, which
Correct.
This is a big facility here. As you can see over my shoulder here, we got the canning facility.
Yep.
What's going on here? How big of a brewery are you? And really, what's happening here at this location?
So this location, we were in Royersford for about 8 years. When we moved that facility to here, they outgrew the brewery space there and opened this in 2012. We do most of our production here now. We still do brew on our original Phoenixville system, so we'll do mostly small batch stuff for our pubs. But it's most of our production is done here. And we produced around 21,000 barrels, 22,000 barrels last year.
So you're a pretty good sized brewery here. And one thing that people may not know is that Sly Fox actually brews, or rather cans beers, for other companies around the area.
We do, yep. We have one of the top of the line packaging and kegging equipment here, and our brew house is very efficient. So we've done a number of Kelso up in Brooklyn. We have
One of the things we always like to ask, and you've got a nice array of different styles here, is how have you seen it changing over the course of the last 10 years or stuff? clearly, everybody's going for the IPAs. You do a lot of things. Explain kind of your focus, what the business is trending toward.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like I looked at a recent article. It was like Beer Advocate top beers from 2002, and there was 2 Doppelbocks in the top 10. And that's just like, wow, mind blowing. But so we kind of take pride in, and obviously the market has shifted and a lot of the buying has shifted to IPAs. But we've always taken pride in making a wide variety of beers, and especially taken pride in making really great lager beers. And I know that might be kind of, craft beer, like, do I want to drink a lager? But when you use really great ingredients and you're using all barley malt and you're taking the time to import the best ingredients here, and you can come up with some really amazing flavors, very drinkable styles. So we're super proud of that.
Any other specialty beers that you've got that you're particularly proud of these days?
I mean, well, we mentioned the Grisette earlier. That's one of my favorite beers that we have. We certainly have, we should go into this now, Alex's Lemon Wheat Ale. That'll be coming out in May. And that's we were able last year donate over almost $12,000 to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation for childhood cancer.
And what's the beer?
And the beer's it's called Alex's Lemon Wheat Ale, and it's a light Hefeweizen, 5.1%. We brew with lemon zest and blend it with the natural lemon oil, so it's not overly sweet like some other shandy beers. It's very refreshing.
Saw it all last year in the summer at those pop-up beer gardens that showed up in the Philadelphia area. And you're also taking advantage of the Pennsylvania, the infamous loophole that allows you to open up tap rooms as well. And where's the next one opening up?
The next one will be hopefully opening in May, maybe June, and that's in Wyomissing, right in the old the VF outlets where they used to be. The knitting mills are calling it.
The knitting, okay. All right.
That's where it's going to be at.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so there's a lot going on. Anything else we missed here?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Malvern too.
Oh, Malvern too.
Yeah.
You're opening in Malvern?
Yes.
Really? All right, we got some breaking news here.
All over the place.
Yep. That'll be in an area I think they're calling the Grove, and that will be hopefully before the end of 2019.
Before the end of this year. Okay, that's pretty cool.
So
I love all these places opening up like this, Glenn.
Yeah, it is really nice. The vast array of all the different breweries opening. And just being able to, in your neighborhood, get a great local beer.
Before we leave, I do want to get back to this SRT real quick because you've got an event coming up that will focus on not only on this beer but on the Schuylkill River Trail.
Yeah, it's cool. It's an event we've partnered with Great American Brewery Runs. It's a 50K relay run. So
you and I are signing up for this baby.
Yeah, I'll do 1K. You got 49.
Yeah.
Well, it's a relay. You get to choose how far you want to ride.
Exactly. So. Yeah, and that's on Saturday, April 20th. That'll be at St. Michael's Park in Montclair, just across the water from Phoenixville.
And that benefits the trail? Or
it benefits the trail, but also benefits the Schuylkill Canal Association, which is based in Montclair, Phoenixville. And that's a volunteer organization that cleans the canal, the Lock 60.
Great stuff. You guys have terrific stuff going on. You've got great beers. We have enjoyed our time here immensely. Peachinopoulos, thank you so much. We hope you all enjoyed. We will be back next week. Make sure you tune in for our next episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing, brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, download the app, and by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.